Hello and welcome back, guys. This is Jigs TV, and today we are talking about very important question is about how to connect your lures, your jigs, your other type of baits to your leader line, and what kind of tools to use, accessories to use. And we're gonna discuss today different methods, which is using snap, or using a snap with a swivel, or making it a direct connection, or using a connection with a solid ring. So we're gonna go through all of them and discuss in depth how to tie them and which one use in which situation. So first of all, I want to talk about the snap, which is the most common used accessory and is the easiest way to change your baits faster. Your jigs, your lures, you can use any of them. You can just snap it open, put your lure, and then close it, and you are ready to cast and you are ready to fish. Usually I use the improved clinch knot to connect them directly to the swivel, to the snap and leader, and I will show you in depth how to make that knot, which is very easy and very fast. But let's see, before we do that, let's see the difference between the normal snap, and the snap with the swivel. I'm sure that many of you have seen that, and to understand what's the difference between these two, the snap and the swivel. So the snap is the most commonly used, and you can use it with any type of lures, and mostly it's used with lures and jigs. And the only one problem with a simple snap is that if you have lures which have a big resistance, on the casting resistance, when you cast them, they are either bulky, or they are oddly shaped, or they are a bit wider in the, like in the body. So you will face that your lure or your bait is twisting in the air, and while it's twisting in the air, the normal snap will twist the whole main line and leader line with it. So once it is twisted, then you have, the sensitivity of your line will change. It might damage your braided line also at the same time, because you are twisting it more than it is required. And it will affect the way of your playing, because once you're gonna do some kind of action, your line is gonna twist back, and it's gonna just change the action specifically for jigs or some soft baits or some other lures. So in these situations, of course, it is more advised to use the snap with the swivel. What it does, when you cast, the snap with the bait will change, it will twist in the air, and it will have its own movement, but it's not gonna affect your main line. So for when you're using oddly shaped soft baits, for example, the ones that are bigger in size and they have bigger, for example, let's say the paddle tails, or some kind of crustaceans, they might twist while you cast them in the air. So in these situations, the snap with the swivel is more advised, because it's not gonna affect your main line, it's not gonna twist it, it's just gonna go around. The swivel itself is just gonna do the whole job without affecting the main line. For any other situations, jigs and the minnows, any type of sticks, the normal simple snap is usually used, and it doesn't affect your line anyway, and it has a direct connection. At the same time, for example, when you have a snap with a swivel, the head the head of the swivel, so the snap itself, has more movement along the line, so it can give some more action, specifically with you when you are playing with the soft baits. It can give more action to the situation. When the single snap, it doesn't move along the line, so it will limit the play. If you require your lure to play more and you want to make some kind of actions, then a snap with a swivel will have more chances for you. Like, I mean, you're gonna have more options to play, when with just a simple snap you have limited options to play. But for example, again, in the situation of metal jigs, if you have metal jigs with a treble hook, the snap with the swivel, it will be easier for treble hook to catch your leader line. So you have to understand these points to make a decision for yourself what kind of snap and when to use it in which kind of situation. For now, I want to, like, once we understood that this is like the main points of snap and the snap with the swivel, I want to show you how I tie the snap and the snap with the swivel to my leader line. The easiest way is the improved clinch knot, and it's very easy, and I'm gonna show you how to tie it very fast and very easy. Okay, so how you do the improved clinch knot. This is the eye of the snap of the swivel. You put it inside the eye. Let's take a bit of more line, and then inside of the eye, and then you twist the line, this extra line, on the main line itself. So I would do, for example, 5 rounds. You can do more to make it stronger. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then what you do, you're gonna put it inside the loop that came out here, that after you twist it there is a loop, and once you put it inside, the new loop comes here. So, and then you continue inside that loop, yeah, and then you moisten it, and then you just try to tighten it up. You tighten it, and you get this kind of connection. Of course, you tighten it up more, as much as possible. You tighten it up, and you get the improved clinch knot, and you can use that for most of the fishing type. So what you will do, I would suggest you to cut the line here, and you can cut it completely, or you could use lighter to melt it a bit so the knot stays stronger, and that's how your improved clinch knot will look like. Of course, you can, as I told you, you can remove it completely so it doesn't affect you, or you can melt it, which I like better. You can melt it with the lighter, and it will just close up the knot completely. And this is the improved clinch knot. You can use it for the snap, normal snap. You can use it snap on the swivel, or you can use it for the direct connection, and which I explained, I'm gonna explain later. And this is going to be a direct connection to the soft baits. The second option is a bit more advanced, I would say, and usually it's used in a big game, and when you're fishing in the deep waters and you're fishing for a bigger type of fish, But I would suggest, if you like to jig a lot, and for example, for me personally, when I go fishing, I usually carry a couple of rods with me, maybe sometimes 3, because if there is no bites from bigger fish, I would use the lighter rod. And for example, one rod I will use completely for jigging, usually with a bit stiffer, faster play, and stiff top, like stiff, the tip is going to be more stiff, and I'm going to use that for jigging from the shore. And the other rod, I'm going to use it like as a utility rod, which I would use mostly for lures. It will be rigged with the lure, and for example, if something happened to my rod, or the leader line got cut, and I don't have time, I see the action and I don't have time to change the FG knot, for example, and I need to cast as soon as possible, then I will use the second rod for that, or I would just keep it with the lure, in case if jig doesn't work and have some action, I would cast it directly with the lure. But let's get back to the point. So the jigging rod, I'm gonna always for jigging, I like to use not snap, not swivel, and I would like to use, I like to use solid ring, direct connection with the ring knot, and the solid ring, which will have direct connection. And the question now is how you're going to connect your jigs to the solid ring. So first of all, of course, what I would do once I connect the solid ring, I would connect my assist hook here. So to understand what's the point of using this, is that this is your leader line, this is your solid ring, and this is your hook. So it's a one connection, one direct link. So this is going to be your main hookup, and it's going to be directly, fish and your connection directly, without affecting the jig itself. And to connect the jig, I would use the split ring, which is going to stay. I will connect split ring, which stays on my solid ring, and it becomes the main connection between jig and solid ring. What I do usually, I carry jigs, and when I purchase them and I get the jigs, I usually remove all the hooks, and I keep some soft bait, for example jigs, I keep them with a treble, and some jigs I keep them without anything. And see, first of all, when I start fishing, and specifically in the places that I don't know, I'm gonna use a jig with a single assist or double assist, and it's going to be only assist hooks. I would use treble hooks when I get strikes, when I get bites, but the strikes are very, I'm missing a bite, each time on for example on assist hook, then I will add treble hook to make sure that I can catch that fish. But in most situations, my jigs, I just keep them in this position, so they don't have any assist, any trebles on them, and it's easy to connect them, and at the same time easy to remove from box, because they are not tangled to each other. So let's say, for example, we take a jig, and this is our connection, main connection, and it's very simple. The only thing is you will need the split ring opener. You just open, you put your jig, and you are ready to go. So it's very easy, very fast, and this is going to be your main connection. And as you see here, you have a direct link. So the jig is only something that attracts the fish, but once it's caught, it stays on the main line, and it doesn't affect it doesn't affect the split ring, which can open. Of course, you know, like it's better to purchase good split rings from better manufacturers that have a good memory and come back to the same situation, and use, of course, the split ring opener. Like, for example, this is for smaller split rings, there is the one for bigger split rings, and this is going to be, you know, very strong and very reliable knot, and a very reliable jigging method, because you're gonna keep your jig away from the, I mean, it's like jig is not, you're not affecting any jig, it's not affected by treble hook split ring here, it's affected only by the, you know, the direct link, very strong knot, and the solid ring doesn't have any anything to open, so it cannot open physically unless you put a really tremendous pressure, but your knot will just, your leader line or your main line will fail before the solid ring will. And it's very easy to change the, for example, if you got cut, for example, by Barracuda or something for the assist hook, you just put the new soft assist hook here. So it's very easy, and it's a very reliable way of using, you know, of jigging method. And now I want to show you how to make this ring knot, which is it will take some time to understand how to do that, but once you understand, it doesn't take more than 30 seconds to tie the complete knot. And now we're gonna do the ring knot, which is, I find, the most powerful knot available, and it's very good to use for a big game, you know, fishing from boat with the jigs, for the slow jigging, for the fast jigging, but at the same time I will show you just how to use it in normal short jigging. So I'll just do it from the beginning completely. Let's take a solid ring. Let's take a bigger solid ring here. I'll take the solid ring. So now we have our solid ring. I'll take a fluorocarbon. You will have to practice it before you learn how to tie properly, but once you learn it, it doesn't take a lot of time. So how you do it, it's first of all you go inside your, you know, as usual process, inside the solid ring, then you go inside the solid ring second time. You know, keep it longer, because you will need a bit longer to make more knots. So you go inside second time, just keep a small loop here, and then go inside the solid ring for the second time. So now you have 2 loops, and then you are going inside. So what you do, you go inside behind the main line, and then inside these 2 loops, and inside the third loop, which is here. So you go inside, and then you tighten it. So you will get this kind of connection. The good thing about it, you know, the movement of the solid ring will be restricted. So it's, if you put it this way, it's gonna stay this way. If you put it this way, it's gonna stay this way. And after that, what you do, you continue with the half hitch knots. So one from down, one from top, one from down, one from top, and you just this from down, for example, you tighten it, first one, and then we go from top. So I will need to use my teeth to tighten it, and then we go from down. And then we go from top. Repeat it minimum of 6-8 times, up to 15-20 times, depending on the type of fishing you do. From down. From top. So you will keep repeating it for a while, and it comes with this kind of, you know, I can say braid. It comes very nicely, stays like that, and if you're gonna complete it longer, it's gonna be just nice and straight cuts. Okay, so now to close this knot, what you will have to do, you will have to do this simple knot, which is going around the line. This is similar to half hitch, but you go around the line 3 times. So you're doing the half hitch knot, and then you're just turning around the line 1 time, and then second time, and then again for the 3rd time, and then you just pull that. So you're gonna pull that to close the knot. So it's gonna close the knot here. It will be nice, first of all, before you cut it, I would suggest you would get the lighter, and once you closed it, you just cut whatever is not required, and then you do this small simple procedure, which is melting your excess one. You're gonna melt it nicely and just press it a bit, so it's gonna create this kind of additional closing knot, you know, and that's how your ring knot, or it's called TN knot also, I think, is used. Then you add a jig, using a split ring, and that's how it's going to be connected, and your assist will be here. And your assist line will be here. So we'll just add the assist hook, for example. This is single assist, it could be double assist with feathers, with anything, which we will discuss in the next videos. So you add that and you are ready to go. The question in here is that the main idea is that your assist line and your solid ring and your main line is all well connected, and this is like a very strong link between them, and this is something that attracts the fish. Fish will see this, you get hooked on this, and you have a very strong connection. And once we explained all these connections, the last connection I wanted to explain is that direct connection, which is for me, I would use it mostly for the soft baits, specifically when I do rock fishing. I fish between the rocks, and I would use direct connection, which, you know, like myself, and I'm sure many anglers, they don't like to change the leader lines, you know, all the time. You know, once they get stuck and they cut their line and they lost the leader line, then they have to do FG knot from the beginning, and this creates complications. You know, you get tired, so you want to avoid that. And I get stuck a lot also, you know, specifically in rock fishing, because I love rock fishing and a lot of interesting species between the rocks, but without getting stuck, it's impossible to fish between the rocks. This was mainly done for preventing my losing the leader line. So what I would do, I would use same improved clinch knot, but the only difference here is that I'm gonna have only 3 rotations around the line. So 1, 2 and 3, and then just finish it off, close it, and it's going to a very small knot, but it's also reliable. Let me just remove the excess one. It's a small knot, it's going to be a small knot, and it's very reliable. The only difference it's gonna make is that when you're gonna get stuck, this knot will not fail on the fish, because when you're fishing you have your drag set, you know, and it's not going to be, you're not gonna give a constant power to the fish, and once you start giving constant power, of course this knot has a better chances of failing, but that's the main idea here. So on the drag, it's just gonna play, you know, you're gonna give more chances to the fish, but the knot will not fail. But when you start putting a constant pressure, for example, let's say you get stuck, you tried all the methods of retrieving your hook and it didn't work, so you start the last method, which I explained before in the previous videos, that you start putting a constant pressure trying to open up the hook, which, for example, like in a situation with this jig head, which is you know, the hooks are not opening easily, and for some hooks, for the softer hooks, the hook will open and you will get it out. But in the hook, when the hooks are tougher and you know that you lost your jig head, you start putting a constant power here, and while you're putting a constant power, this knot after a while is gonna fail before your FG knot. So this one gives 60%, let's say 65% chance that your knot is gonna fail here on the direct connection here, and you're gonna get your leader out safe. So all you have to do is tie other jig head, put the soft bait, and start fishing again without changing your leader line from the beginning. So I would use that method, the direct connection with the 3 rotations, so that very small improved clinch knot, just specifically for the situation when I'm fishing in the rocks and with the soft baits. You could use that for jigs also, when you're using jigs, metal jigs in the rocks, and you know that there is a possibility that you're gonna get stuck. So use that knot, because this knot is gonna fail if you don't want to lose your leader line. If you don't care about your leader line and you're ready to just put a new FG knot and it's easy for you, then you might not use this method. But to save yourself a bit of time, I would use this knot, and this helps me a lot in the rock fishing. And direct connection is the way to go, I think. So for the direct connection for the soft baits, we're gonna use the same clinch knot, improved clinch knot, but the only difference is that we're gonna twist it only 3 times around the line, which is 1, 2 and 3, and then you go inside the loop and inside the other loop again, and you just tighten it, and you have this improved clinch knot, but which twisted only 3 times. It is strong enough, and we'll just try to cut the whole excess. I am not gonna melt this one because this knot is made to open, so if I make them, you know, if I melt it, and it's gonna give more resistance to opening, so I want it to be as it is. So if I put a constant pressure on it, I can completely, you know, like the knot will fail here, the jig head will stay in the rocks, but my leader line is safe and I can fish with it. Again, just tie a new jig head to it. So basically today we learned some, I hope I helped you somehow to understand what type of accessories to use to connect your jigs, your lures, your soft baits. And if you have any additional comments, of course, there is so many ways. I'm just sharing my experience, and there is a lot of ways to do that, and I'm sure many of you know many other ways. If you know some other ways, share with us in the comments, please, and we will be happy, you know, like we were sharing it with the whole community here. And if you have any questions or any additional comments, comment below. Don't hesitate, and we are ready to learn ourselves and to make some new videos regarding that. And we are trying to bring more videos, but it is time consuming, you have to understand, and we will just work harder on to bring more and more interesting knowledge about fishing. And thanks for watching, and hopefully see you soon again.